Hello, this is Creative Noodles. Grace, Jesse, Elizabeth, and Hayden. Within this project, we took 4 individual creative questions that morphed into multiple solutions. We brainstormed different ideas to develop the creative problem further, took those solutions and thought of one prototype called U-Time. This whole section with the mind maps is where we were clarifying the problem. Mind map number 1. This mind map covered each of our individual creative questions based on a problem in our own life that we could solve creatively for our individual weekly assignments. At this stage, we were able to work together to get more clear and concise creative questions and sub-questions that break down our individual problem further. By doing so, we were able to see more of the specifics of what our creative problem entails. Here you can see that Grace wanted to work on her mental health, Elizabeth wanted help scheduling her day out, I wanted to see how I could get into the dance film industry, and Hayden wanted a post-graduation plan. A common theme we saw in all of these is scheduling, which lead us to our team creative question: in what ways can I reward myself and hold myself accountable with time management? Information gathering. Based off our creative question, we were able to use forced connections to gain more ideas to help solve our problem. In this stage, we viewed a slideshow of pictures just to see what we could come up with. Here you can see 4 pictures that we used to help us gain more ideas. The colored pencils made us think of color-coded schedule. The stack of books made us think of that stuff adds up, and so we don't want to procrastinate. The nature/waterfall picture, it made us think of studying somewhere else. And the sun made us think to take a break or do something you enjoy. From all of these ideas, we were able to make mind map number 2. Mind map number 2. Along with the forced connections, we were able to take time away from the team to think of ideas which are included in this mind map. From all of our ideas, we were able to bounce off each other to create even more ideas. We took all of these ideas, voted on the best ones, then clustered them into groups based on similar themes, which is also shown in this mind map. In what ways can I reward myself and hold myself accountable with time management? Well, you can see here on mind map number 2, we have boundaries, schedule, learn from experts, reward/incentives, and accountability as 5 subgroups. Domain expertise. All of us took time to look up experts in the field, in this case, time management experts. We Googled, looked up helpful tips and tricks, found websites discussing this at length, and learned tips that would help us in our day-to-day life and as a student. Our impact of doing so was that we gained a lot more ideas that we would have never thought of. Plus, we got more useful or easily applicable tips, which made us realize how important it was to find solutions that are easy to implement in our day-to-day lives. Mind map number 3. From the ideas we gained from using the knowledge from experts in the field, we took the best ideas based on what was important to us individually and as a group, and clustered them into groups that had similar themes. We put them into 4 categories. Here you can see prioritize, reward, schedule, and helpful tips. We ended up not reformulating the problem during this stage of the process, but that didn't stop us from going in the direction that our process and solutions were taking us. Looking back, I think we could have rewritten this creative question to be, in what ways can time management help me become more successful and well-rounded in all aspects of my life? So, to recap, we started with 4 individual creative questions, which ended up being in mind map number 1. Then we morphed it into one creative question that hit on all of our individual problems. Then we came up with ideas and used forced connections to gain even more ideas. Then we clustered ideas into themes to create mind map number 2. We used Google to find experts in time management to gain more ideas, clustered those ideas into main ideas to create mind map number 3.
The next process that we went through was ideation. Starting this process off, we used 3 different processes to get our ideas out there: brainstorming, brain typing, and forced connections. I will go more into depth on how we use these techniques in the next slide. For each technique, we came up with 40 ideas, resulting in 120 ideas in total for our question, in what ways can I reward myself and hold myself accountable with time management? Out of those 120 ideas, we narrowed it down to our top 10 for each of our group members. We then put them into 6 clusters, and those clusters were: get a specific schedule with a checklist, get inspired to try new things, set time for self-care and also give yourself realistic boundaries, do things that you enjoy as a reward for yourself, create an environment that is conducive to your needs, and use people around you to help you stay motivated. Out of the 3 techniques that we used to come up with our ideas, brainstorming was the one that we found that was most effective for us. It was the most effective because we were able to talk through what we were thinking individually, and then the other groups would chime in or add on or even create a brand new idea based off of what someone else said. We've also found this to be the best because it was a collaborative process that made us feel more like a team. When going through the brain typing process, we noticed that since we weren't talking, we came up with a lot of the same types of ideas. They were just said in fewer words. For example, plan big rewards, get a reward system, or do something every day that you enjoy. And that's why we ended up putting that into one cluster, because they were a lot of the same type of information. We also used forced connections to help us think outside of the box with our ideas. So, for example, we used a picture of a bridge and came up with the idea of bridge the gap between can and will when in talking the scheme of time management. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about our group as a whole. At the beginning of the term, our ideas were basic, not very original, not specific, easy to understand, but too broad and not measurable. Our team qualities started off this process that we weren't very talkative, but as we got comfortable with one another, we were able to create a flow each time we met. If we felt like not everyone was getting to speak, we would try to include them in the conversation or decision that we were trying to make. Each team member was good at coming up with ideas on their own, but as we worked together, we were able to develop more creative and original ideas that would not only help us, but maybe help other students too to better manage their time. One of the main ways we came up with ideas was we added on to other people's ideas and created new ones or further developed the presented idea, which was also known as updating. Each of our personalities meshed really well together, and we had a sense of shared leadership throughout the whole process coming up with ideas. We were all very open and understanding with other people's ideas and encouraged people to put forward their ideas. Something interesting about our group was that we each had knowledge in the same areas like psychology and dance, for example, but after doing research, we were able to contribute more knowledge to further develop our ideas. The environment that we created for our group members was open for ideas and suggestions, which made the flow of the group so much better. We prioritized and put the most important ideas in and tried to develop those ideas to their fullest potential before moving on. We were very task-oriented. When one of us seemed to get stuck or roadblocked, we were always there to help chime in or help them further develop that idea. Overall, as we got a better understanding of which ideas were more original, we were able to come up with those ideas more often. We were able to pick out the ideas that didn't hold much weight and got rid of them, which was also known as the process of inhibition. And if we felt that those ideas needed just to be changed, we would modify them to create an even better idea. Our ideas flowed easily and were able to come up with useful ideas, but the only category that we did struggle with a little bit was creating original and groundbreaking ideas, but in the end, we were able to achieve that goal.
Evaluation. We use multiple techniques to evaluate our ideas. We use the story starting with what we see ourselves doing is get a specific schedule with a checklist, get inspired to try new things, set time for self-care and also give yourself realistic boundaries, do things that you enjoy as a reward for yourself, create an environment that is conducive to your needs, and use people around you to stay motivated. We also use PPCOs, which is pluses, potentials, and concern. For each category, we found 3 ideas. And then we listed multiple ways to overcome our concerns. Out of all of our ideas, we highlighted 10 of our best ideas for further evaluation. We placed them into the color your choices, which all of our ideas were either blue, green, or yellow. None of them were red, which was highly useful, normal, and ordinary ideas. Highly useful, original ideas, and then unclear use and original ideas. Since none of our ideas were red, they all moved on to map the grid, which we used 5 criteria for each idea, which was easily attainable, enjoyable, efficient, specific, and trackable. We evaluated each idea on a 1 to 10 scale. The lowest scoring ideas were removed, and we had 7 ideas left over, which was how to say no, setting a time limit for tasks, go out and spend time doing something that you enjoy, keeping your space clean, making a to-do list both weekly and daily, how to make time for food, and how to make time for yourself in your routine. Our 7 ideas got moved to the prototyping process. We have learned that the prototyping process has allowed us to look at the creative problem from multiple perspectives and has allowed us to improve our solution. For example, we were asked, what might you do to gain acceptance of your solution? And we said all students struggle with time management, so providing a solution could help more than just us. Another example was we were asked, what additional resources might help you to implement your idea, such as individuals, groups, materials, or money? We said rewards, mentor/counselor to help you implement the idea, join a Facebook group, inspirational quotes around the area that you're in, or a Pinterest inspiration board. Another prototyping tool that we used is called Scamper, also known as substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, reverse, which helped us improve our solution by looking at our prototype from several viewpoints. For example, under substitute, we were asked, what materials or resources can you substitute or swap to improve the product? We said, make a planner fun to look at and make an electronic planner to have it with you all the time. Another example is under adapt, what other contexts can you put your product into? We said life in general, work, adulting, family, working out, extracurricular activities, and teacher. For our plan for action to implement our solution into our creative problem, we followed specific steps to decide on the best solution for our creative problem. We each had assigned action tasks to each person that had to be completed by a certain date. We used feedback from our creativity coach and professor to improve our prototype. We used multiple techniques to evaluate our solution. We worked together to create a flexible solution that addresses the creative problem from a broad, multi-perspective way. Our prototype process started with a planner, and then we added an app to be able to install it to a phone or computer so you could have it wherever you want. So we linked the planner to a phone for an electronic planner. Then we added alarms for reminders. Then we added timers to schedule specific times such as meal times, homework time, free time. And then we added recommendations such as recipes, places to eat, things to do nearby, all customizable by your likes and needs. Then we added positive affirmations to increase motivation, which leads to the app UTime. Not only helps with time management, but works as a personal assistant too.
To end, our group worked really hard to achieve the goal of finding a solution to our creative problem of how to effectively manage our time. For a recap of what our creative project looked like, we started with 4 individual creative questions. Then we took those and turned it into one creative question as a group. In what ways can I reward myself and hold myself accountable with time management? We then gathered information and expertise on the topic of time management to clarify the problem that we were trying to solve and started to come up with solutions of how to better manage your time. We used brainstorming, brain typing, and forced connections to generate our ideas and worked as a team to effectively come to a conclusion of ideas. We evaluated the ideas that we came up with and decided which ones would work best for our solution. The prototype that we made applies to all of the topics that we wanted to cover, including managing time, planning your schedule, adding time for yourself, how to say no when it's too much, and etc. In the end, we came up with the app called UTime. It's like a personal assistant in your pocket.